Hello there and good evening. It's another Wednesday night, News Extra night, and it's a pleasure to be hanging out with you tonight and to bring you news with the extra touch. Tonight, we shall start with development news as the Federal Executive Council approves more infrastructure projects. INEC and police are strategizing to curb vote buying during elections, beginning with Ekiti and Osun holding this year. The National Assembly has been busy with senators worrying about mass failure of students in WAEC examinations, while House members are not smiling over allegations that they collect bribes to pass budgets. We also have our usual business news segment and business-related stories. We have stories on agriculture, peace and peace building, and much more. Well, let me not bore you any further. If you are a coffee or tea person, grab a cup, sit back, and let me give you the news with the extra touch. My name is Shola Omole, and this is News Extra. In furtherance of the federal government's resolve towards improving Nigeria's critical infrastructure, over 25 billion naira contracts have been approved for roads development and improvement in the nation's aviation industry. The Federal Executive Council granted the approval after a marathon Wednesday meeting that lasted over 5 hours. The State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the Ministries of Youth and Sports Development, as well as Labor and Employment, were also engaged on their scorecards.
With President Muhammadu Buhari presiding, the Federal Executive Council considered and approved various memoranda submitted by ministers aimed at reducing the nation's critical infrastructure deficit. This is to enhance Nigeria's socio-economic development for a sustainable future. One of the contracts approved is the rehabilitation of Ikorodu-Shagamu Road in Lagos State at 20.8 billion naira.
The significance of the award of this contract is that it will reduce road accidents and loss of lives, of course, travel time, and the operating costs for transporters and commuters. And more importantly, it will enhance the movement of petroleum and agricultural products and also facilitate other commercial activities. If you remember, Massimi, the strategic NNPC depot is along that line.
The Minister of State for Aviation also secured the approval of the Council for the design, manufacture, and installation of fully automated fire smoke aircraft training simulator in the Nigeria College of Aviation Technologies area. The project is expected to gulp 4.2 billion naira.
This firefighting equipment is extremely very important because when we came into government in 2015, I found myself approving several hundreds of thousands of dollars for our firefighters to go into Cameroon and get trained or get their proficiency training to come back and serve. Nigeria with 30 airports, fire is a no-go in aviation. And we cannot afford to continue to send people to neighboring countries to learn how to fight fire when we have everything that it takes. Federal Fire Service, state governments, and anybody who is into firefighting can leverage on the equipment that will bring is live fire that will be trained how to fight it in Zaria.
The Council similarly approved 873.1 million naira for the construction of the Faculty of Law at the University of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State.
It will enable it to house the Faculty of Law on its main campus and then provide office spaces, moot courts, and so on.
Meanwhile, the Ministries of Youth and Sports Development, as well as Labor and Employment, have briefed the Council on the accomplishments recorded so far as a result of the various approvals granted them since 2015.
The Youth Employment Scheme under the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. This is anchored by the National Directorate of Employment, where unemployed graduates are taught how to be self-sustaining. From the public sector perspective, under this agency alone, over 100,000 youth employment scheme has been executed.
We also try to draw the attention of the Council on the need for an effective synergy between the MDS to be able to address the youth question, which is more or less growing like a tsunami. And if due attention is not given to it, we will likely have problems.
Sports Minister Solomon Dalong in particular takes pride in what he called the democratization of national associations as a policy thrust of the ministry. This, he said, has not only enhanced the confidence of Nigerian athletes, but also the nation's records in sports. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The initiative by the Buhari administration to prioritize the provision of infrastructure is seen by many economists as a double-edged measure, which, apart from getting infrastructure working, also opens up employment and business opportunities for the people. Works and Housing correspondent Mohammed Hamza Sheikh reports on the contributions of the construction sector to the Nigerian economy.
One of the ways through which economists measure the growth of a developing economy is by the proliferation of petty businesses, food and water vendors, as well as hawkers of other edible and non-edible items. On the other hand, the contribution of any sector to the growth of an economy is measured by the economic activity provided by that sector. At every construction site, hundreds of workers are employed, while many petty businesses thrive as well.
One of the things that the President committed to in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan was to invest in the Nigerian people. Those are Nigerian people in whom the President's investment commitment is manifesting.
From quarries and their products, construction and building materials and their sellers, lubricants and oils to the hawkers at various stages, both skilled and unskilled, and traders, hawkers and vendors that make a living from the contract sums. It is really a long, long chain of business that thrives at construction sites.
I always feed my family, and the work helped me very much, and helped my family and my brothers and so on, and my colleagues. I help them with this work.
We have here, these people are buying plots, and maybe 1 or 2 years, this one will be occupied.
So what? I eating put for this market. Do you understand? I help you, my mother and father.
Arguably, therefore, the construction sector contributes more to the Nigerian economy than any other sector. While it provides the needed infrastructure, it also opens up employment opportunities to thousands of people. Muhammad Hamza Sheikh, NTA News.
I'm sure you will agree that nature has been kind to Nigeria. There are abundant resources to harness for human needs, social and economic growth. Now, one of such endowments is the wind. Wondering how this can be harnessed for national growth? Don't wander any further, as Usman Aliyu is here to tell us how it's been done in Katsina State. It's called the Katsina Wind Power Project. Usman, we're all ears.
One amazing feature that will attract a first-time visitor to Katsina is the way it comes alive in the cool of the evening. The streets are busy and safe. To some people, this is the best time to buy and sell. But for me, the best time to explore the city. Just a turn away from the street, it is a different story. Residents are yearning for electricity.
Since the power is given to people at odd times, now if you have the lights from the morning or in the afternoon, just like now, possibly by 9 o'clock it will be off.
Abubakar Umar's business is in the evenings. Improved electricity in Katsina will boost his business.
These street lights are powered by generators, which means a lot of money is spent on fuel and maintenance to light up these streets. But technology has been helped by Katsina's unique geography. Wind potentialities are turning this place into a renewable energy home.
Now the commitment by the federal government on climate-friendly development harnesses wind resources to light up homes and support commercial activities in Katsina. The wind farm of 2 km wide and 1 km length is testing the efficacy of renewable energy to adequately provide cheaper and reliable electricity to Nigerians.
Far so good. According to the consultants for this project, they are assuring us that by end of this month, they will commission the first phase of 15 turbines.
Issues hunting the success of this project in the past are still there. Why at this time vandalization of some valuables at the farm? Suspicion is high that it is an act of enemy within.
The importance of what the project will impact on the society. We need power in Nigeria, so it's unfortunate.
Security issues that the government has handled for a very long time.
Hope is not all lost. Government is committed to generating 10 megawatt Katsina wind power, expected to be completed by end of 2018. Usman Aliu, NTA News.
The oil and gas business is a high-stakes venture globally. Nigeria is squarely in the competitive industry with stiff contest for investments with many other African countries. Uncertainties and lack of transparency, according to the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NEITI, has cost Nigeria, over a period of 8 years, about $200 billion, a huge amount that probably would have been saved if the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill was in place. Lydia Sampson tells us more about the gains and impact of the bill when passed into law.
For Ade Phillips and the typical Nigerian motorist, reforms in the oil and gas sector should simply translate into sustained and available petrol at the retail outlets. For him and others, the availability of the product at relative and uniform price across the country is important, as it will impact on every aspect of life. The improved supply now is a welcome relief that must be sustained. They say if the PIGB expected to be passed into law will put an end to spending endless hours on queues, then it should be fast-tracked.
You drive across, they begin to beckon you to come and buy fuel. It's a basic thing to have fuel, but I think that bill should be passed.
A couple of days ago, I spoke with my brothers in Jalingo. They were telling me that in Taraba State, it still persists, the fuel scarcity. So my appeal to government is to make sure that there's no fuel scarcity nationwide.
Anything the government can do, it should sustain the product availability at any time.
We are working with the government to help Nigerians to get fuel.
For industry players, however, the search for a better management and governance of the oil and gas sector is imperative to the much-needed investment in this sector. Until the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill is signed into law, they say the journey spanning over 15 years will be in vain. The PIGB, they argue, is the instrument needed to fast-track overhaul of the entire industry, from down, mid to the upstream, to enable the country enjoy maximum benefit from the sector.
Now we've come to a critical juncture, which is, the two houses, the two chambers of the National Assembly have passed versions of the PIGB, which is 1 out of 4.
Let me say clearly that it's going to be historic if the bill is being passed.
What we're interested is just to ensure that we have a bill that would bring out the best in the oil and gas sector.
The PIGB aims to place an effective institutional framework, set up structures for establishment of commercially driven petroleum entities, as well as promote transparency in the administration of Nigerian petroleum resources. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
In its bid to boost its revenue generation capacity, the federal government, through the NNPC, extended oil exploration to northeast Nigeria under a joint venture agreement with a Chinese company. However, operations were suspended due to activities of Boko Haram. Latest efforts to resume the exploration suffered another setback following an attack and abduction of University of Maiduguri lecturers. Lami Ali, in this exclusive report, tells us about the current state of the NNPC exploration efforts in Kukawa, Borno State.
It took us about 4 hours to travel the over 180 kilometers road from Maiduguri to Kukawa. But for a few damaged structures, the city center appeared untouched as residents were seen going about their daily activities. When we arrived at the office accommodation used by the NNPC for oil exploration in Kuka, we were confronted with a different view as the facility was in ruins, having been touched by insurgents. An elder of the community, Ali Kekino, told us that when the facility was operational, it provided employment to more than 500 people who were engaged in non-technical aspects of the exploration.
We believe the NNPC exploration for oil, which started in Kukawa some years ago, is important to our community, Borno and Nigeria, and that was why the people of Kukawa cooperated with the workers.
During the census exercise of 2006, the National Population Commission recorded more than 10,000 people as residents who fled in the wake of insurgency. Most of them have returned, keeping themselves busy with farming and cattle rearing. They remain hopeful of the return of oil exploration in view of the immense economic and development benefits. From Kuka, Lami Ali, NTA News.
INEC and police partner to end vote buying during elections. This and more after these messages.
Get 10 times your recharge value to call and browse anyhow. Recharge with *220 star the pin hash to enjoy this offer. Available to new and existing subscribers.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
His Excellency Mr. Kiumi Ambode, Governor of Lagos State, and the good people of Lagos State, welcome His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on his historic 2-day visit to the state. The visit will run from Thursday 29th March to Friday 30th March 2018. President Buhari will also commission some landmark projects in the state. Let's give Mr. President a rousing Lagos welcome. Long live Lagos State. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Ìtẹ̀síwájú ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ló jẹ́ wá lógún. Lagos State Ministry of Information and Strategy announced.
You dey Lagos, so you know. If I carry you go, you catch my guy. You go love Lagos, yo.
His Royal Highness Lamid Adama Dr. Muhammadu Barkindo Ali Mustafa, PhD, CFR, the Premier Ruler of Adamawa and the Grand Patron of Tabakal Plaku International, cordially invites you to the turbaning ceremony of Alhaji Musa Halilu Ahmed as Dujima Adamawa. Date, Saturday 31st March 2018. Time, 10 a.m. Venue, Lamido Adama Palace, Yola. You're all invited.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
Last day of the month. This alert has to come in early today.
You have a text message.
Haba, what kind of disturbance is this?
You have a text message.
That must be a message from my darling. Unsolicited message again. This is harassment. Wow, what's this now?
Are you tired of receiving unsolicited text messages on your phones? Then take advantage of Do Not Disturb code 2442. Simply text STOP to 2442 and all unsolicited text messages will stop coming. If you want to be receiving particular types of calls and text messages instead, text HELP to 2442 and choose the option that suits you, like finance, sports, religion. Where your service provider fails to meet your request, call NCC on toll-free number 622.
Thank you, NCC.
NCC, connecting Nigeria.
If you did not pay tax on the income used to acquire a property abroad or here in Nigeria, you're in default. If you are in business and you are not remitting VAT, you are in default. If you're hiding your income from the taxman, you're in default. Do you have multiple sources of income you are not paying taxes on? You are in default. The Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme, VADE's amnesty window, offers you the opportunity to regularize your tax status. Declare now to avoid tax audits, interest, penalties, and prosecution.
VADE's, I declare, my duty, my nation.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant to achieve our creed as we promise. We shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
Welcome back. And I say, be warned. Nigeria's democracy is not for sale. This is a warning coming from the Independent National Electoral Commission to those who engage in vote buying during elections. In fact, the issue dominated discussions between INEC chairman and the Inspector General of Police at a meeting they held at INEC headquarters, as political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Brininkudu tells us.
In preparation,
security is one of the major components to the success of any election. That is why this meeting between the electoral umpire and the Inspector General of Police is apt. Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris, who leads a top hierarchy of the force to the meeting, pledges continued support to INEC, especially in the crucial assignment ahead.
The force always need to synergize to ensure that we have a peaceful elections in the coming months in Nigeria.
For the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the commission needs police intervention to bring to an end vote buying during elections. He also intimated the meeting of the two governorship elections this year, in Ekiti in July and Oshun in September. The commission is expected to commence the continuous voters registration in the two states from April 11th to 16th.
In the case of the Ekiti governorship elections, based on the timetable released by the commission, the notice of the election will be posted on the 4th of April, and thereafter campaigns by political parties in Ekiti will commence on the 15th of April, while the conduct of party primaries for the choice of candidates will take place simultaneously with the commencement of campaigns from the 15th of April to the 14th of May.
There are 2,195 polling units in Ekiti State, while Osun State has 3,010. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
From elections to education. Education is said to be the bedrock of any society, and the pursuit of a sound education provides the youth with a platform to express themselves and showcase their talents. What then are the issues that have led to consistent mass failures on a yearly basis in the West African examinations, WAEC examinations? This was a key item for discussion at Wednesday's Senate plenary, where the senators offered their views on what they believe are factors militating against the youths of today in their academic pursuit. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
The legislators have resolved to interface with the Minister of Education and the head of the National Office of the West African Examinations Council to identify the root causes of the mass failings in the WAEC examinations and proffer solutions to what has been described as a major concern in the education sector. This was moved by Senator representing Katsina Central, Umaru Kurfi.
The WAEC failure rates continue to increase each year as evidence of failure and measures taken, if any, by education has been taken.
When you have teachers who are not properly educated, cannot speak good English, how will you expect that the children they teach will do well in their exams?
If we are not taking care of them, particularly at the basic education level, then something is wrong with the foundation of our society as a whole.
One of the greatest issues we must address is increasing value of our human resources through education and health.
A revisited motion on the urgent need to include the Eastern Rail Lines in the Nigerian Railway Development Project of federal government was adopted.
The Eastern Rail Lines are not in use, and trains no longer ply these routes in moving people and goods in and out of the old Eastern region, leading to decline in economic activities.
I read in the papers, the president said the federal government would borrow some money for the development of the Eastern Rail Line.
This issue, Your Excellency, distinguished colleagues, is all about fairness. It's about equity.
I want to assure you that the Eastern Rail project is a done deal.
Following a motion by Senator James Manager representing Delta South on the landslide in Tuomo in Burutu local government area of Delta State and the imminent threat of caving in of the town, the Senate mandated the Committee on Niger Delta to inspect the town. 2 executive communications from President Muhammadu Buhari were received, a request for the establishment of a promissory note program and a bond issuance to settle inherited local debts and contractual obligations. Senate President Bukola Saraki also inaugurated the Tax Reform Committee, which is mandated to harmonize all existing laws to pave way for a smooth tax system in the country. The committee was formed through consultations by management of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
On the 26th of this month, some national dailies carried captions of bribery allegation against members of the National Assembly. The publications alleged that members of the House of Representatives were given $30,000 each to change the existing sequence of elections. Members described it as false and unfounded. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The motion by Representative Nuru Amburam from Kano State on the breach of collective privileges of members triggered heated debate on the newspaper publication.
My honorable colleagues, I want you to support this matter so that this matter can be investigated thoroughly.
This is a clear case of defamation and some punitive action needs to be taken.
I want this House to seriously take a decision now on a class action suit on defamation.
Or we should concentrate our effort on legislative process and don't be derailed
This is also diversionary.
I was asking over my colleague, 30,000. You are my neighbor. Have you received yours? I am yet to see my $30,000. He say, maybe Madaki, you are the one who received my own. Give it to me. We are taking it as a joke, but it's not a joke.
So really it's the ethics and privileges that will look into the complaint of the matter to determine whether his privilege is being breached or the privilege of the institution has been breached, and what course of action is open to us. If there's no remedy from the ethics committee, let them determine that it is only through the courts that we can get a remedy.
The matter was then referred to the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges. Thereafter, members passed at second reading 2 bills seeking to amend the Border Communities Development Agency and clearly specify states to be represented on the governing board of the agency from the 6 geopolitical zones, sponsored by Representative Benjamin Wayo from Benue State, and the one for the establishment of the Federal College of Agriculture, Okehi Eche, sponsored by Representative Jerome Eke from River State. The motion by Representative Daniel Rieneju from Delta State on the need to ensure remittance of budgetary provision for the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, EFRUM, to promote research and development in the oil sector was adopted. The House, in the Committee of the Whole, considered and approved 22 reports, including the report on a bill for an act to provide funds for the completion of the Ajokote Steel Company, which recommended, among other issues, that funds from the excess crude revenue be utilized in completing the steel industry. It will be recalled that the Petroleum Governance Bill had been passed by both chambers of the National Assembly, but eventually there were some discrepancies that were discovered in the bill, and therefore the bill was rescinded. That is, it was withdrawn. And then some of those corrections were effected, and this bill was among the bills that were considered and approved by the Committee of the Whole from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Central Bank of Nigeria takes steps to deepen financial inclusion across the country. On business news after this timeout. Don't go away.
In continuation of regular consultative meetings with critical players in the aviation sector, the Honorable Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Abubakar Sirika, cordially invites stakeholders to the 4th Aviation Stakeholders Forum, scheduled to hold as follows. Date, Thursday, March 29, 2018. Venue, NAV Conference Center and Suites, Kado, Abuja. Time, 8 a.m. The forum is to enable the Honorable Minister of State Aviation update stakeholders on developments within the sector, and in particular, unveil the transaction advisors recently appointed for some key projects in the aviation sector. For further information, please contact 080-6564-3949 and 080-5961-6121. Announcer
S. Zachary, Permanent Secretary. This is to inform all CBN pensioners and deferred pensioners that the annual headcount exercise we hold between 9th to 20th April 2018 at the CBN head office in Abuja, Learning Center, Lagos, and branches nationwide. All pensioners and deferred pensioners are required to come along with the following items or information for the exercise: pensioner's identity card, 1 recent passport-sized photograph, contact address and telephone number, email address if any, name, address, telephone number, and full contact details of their next of kin, bank verification number, account number. All pensioners are required to fill a fresh next of kin mandate form during the exercise. The specific date for the exercise in each location is as indicated. In order to ensure orderliness during the exercise, pensioners in Lagos are grouped based on their surnames to participate on the indicated dates. For further information, please contact this number. Management Announcer.
Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, brings a new lease of life to Nigerian SMEs. SON has put a greater premium on developing standards aimed at improving the exports of the nation's food and cash crops. This explains why we have developed more standards for Nigeria's produce like sesame, cocoa, garri, and more, courtesy our accredited state-of-the-art laboratories. In keeping with the federal government's ease of doing business, SON has simplified its processes and turnaround time for SunCap and ManCap to reduce substandard products and legal arm to prosecute offenders. Join Standards Organization of Nigeria in ridding our nation of substandard goods due to consistent market surveillance and raids. See something, say something. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving life through standards.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity.
That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate. Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities for maximum cavity protection. And now available in a fresh new icy mint gel.
Wow. All TVs say picture quality, but never mention the most important color, black. It uncovers the hidden details of nature, brings out the richness in all colors, and reveals life. With self-lighting pixels, only OLED TVs make perfect black, and perfect black creates perfect color. LG OLED TV.
Your perfect family is under threat by germs. Infectious diseases are now the world's biggest killer of adults and children. Every day, 16,000 children under the ages of 5 and thousands of adults die from infectious diseases. These infectious diseases are caused by germs. They are everywhere. An average human being comes in contact with over 1 million germs daily. In unclean water, dirty surfaces, in the toilet, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes. Germs can cause deadly diseases like typhoid, diarrhea, flu, and cough. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 Cap Full for surface cleaning in your bathing water, in your laundry water, for first aid, to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol Sure. Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
My father said opportunity knocks every minute. He used to say to me that even the rising sun is an opportunity. A man must give each day everything. I live by those words. Just 1 minute of one day can change everything. Every day he stepped out with the belief that today might just be that day.
At FCMB, we believe every day is a new opportunity. Let's help you step forward and take it. FCMB, my bank and I.
Shola, come and help me. You need to learn.
But I'm more interested in drawing.
How are you going to be part of the business if you don't learn?
You just don't understand.
Morning. Anyone for some Lipton?
The rich taste of Lipton awakens body and mind.
Let me have a look at your drawings. Son, these designs are amazing.
Lipton Yellow Label Tea. Awaken to what really matters.
Welcome back. Let's get going again. The Central Bank of Nigeria takes bold steps to deepen financial inclusion across the country, plus movement of equities on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Musa Toliat brings us details of these stories and more on the Business News segment.
Hello and thanks for joining us on Business News segment. The Central Bank of Nigeria is set to work with deposit money banks, licensed mobile money operators, and super agents to roll out 500,000 shared agent network to boost financial inclusion in the country. This came to the fore at the end of this year's Body of Banks of CEOs Forum in Lagos. The arrangement entails funding the expansion of SAN within 2 years to offer basic financial services to an estimated 50 million Nigerians who are currently unbanked. The initiative is in line with CBN's 2020 financial inclusion targets, and it is expected to create more than 500,000 jobs. Experts in non-interest banking have advocated the movement of line of financing from debt to equity-based. This, they say, can help to ensure that more sectors gain access to sufficient funds to finance capital projects in the country.
Because it's equity-based, they are more patient. Because they are patient, you can put them into industry, into manufacturing, into agriculture, and you can wait patiently to get the result.
Nigeria has enormous natural resources. This is where Islamic finance can help, actually, because it's all about the assets. And I mean, you have the assets, and behind, we can build different customized solutions to help the development of the economy.
The president of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, says there is need for African leaders to focus more on the establishment of high-technology industrial clusters to tackle unemployment in the continent. He made the call at the Africa CEO Forum in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
Africa has, by 2025, is going to have the largest in terms of digital consumer market. 600 million people that will be on internet. 360 million people that will be using smartphones. So that's a great thing. But the question we must ask is, why must we just be a consumer center? Why can't just be, we have to innovate, we have to be creative, we have to be entrepreneurial in driving and leading on this fourth industrial revolution.
Time now for stock market reports.
Trading closed on a negative note on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. A total of 535 million shares valued at 3 billion naira were traded in 4,717 deals. Market capitalization stood at 14 trillion naira, while the all-share index was 40,802.02 points. Glaxo, Unilever, Stamp, Nestle and PZ led the gainers table, while WAPCO, Dangote Cement, Total, Guaranteed Trust Bank and Dangote Sugar topped the losers table.
That's Business News segment. Thanks for watching. News Extra continues shortly. Stay tuned.
In order to curb the activities of illegal courier operators across the country, the Nigerian Postal Services has embarked on a monitoring exercise in Lagos. Diana Ajali, who compiled the report, says 22 courier companies were shut down during the raid.
The illegal courier companies were raided for contravening the regulations governing the practice. Not less than 22 courier organizations were visited, while 17 were clamped down for unlawful operations. The General Manager, Courier Regulatory Department, NIPOST, Dr. Ishaya Musa Diwa, revealed the desire of the Courier Regulatory Department to ensure that operations in the industry perform optimally. He therefore advised the public to desist from patronizing illegal courier operators.
We had to go out to clamp down on those that we have seen operating illegally. They've been able to bring a lot of challenges and problems to the legal ones. It is our responsibility and duty to make sure such practices are curtailed to the minimum, and then to make it very difficult for those who are not supposed to be in the industry to continue to operate.
NIPOS says the raid on illegal courier companies will continue.
The Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NISAL, and the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, are collaborating to boost productivity along the rice and cassava value chains. Managing Director of NISAL, Aliu Abdulhamid, announced this at the signing of the Nigerian Agribusiness Supplier Development Project document. Leah Katung Babatunde reports that the partnership is expected to facilitate the elimination of supply chain bottlenecks.
The Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NISAL, has made significant strides in collaborating with homegrown and international organizations. These include the majority of commercial banks in Nigeria, insurance companies, and numerous state governments. A large number of agribusinesses have already taken advantage of some of the agriculture financing schemes. The Nigerian Agribusiness Supplier Development Project, NASDP, NISAL say would be implemented through a public-private partnership arrangement and has smallholder farmers, youths, and women as its target beneficiaries.
And on top of that, we have a potential gap of about $10 billion between what we are producing today and what we can produce.
To create finances, to create wealth, and to address the issue of food security.
NISAL would contribute $1.5 million, approximately 20% of the entire funding requirement of $8 million to implement the project. The project will focus on improving supply of rice and cassava with timely deliveries, reduce transportation, inventory costs, and improve access to growing markets provided by structured off-takers.
Agriculture seems to indeed be the sector that has to stabilize and increase economic growth.
The project is currently being experimented in Angola, Benin Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Kenya. No fewer than 10,000 rice and cassava farmers are expected to benefit from it. In Abuja, I'm Lekatung Baba today, NTA News.
The 2018 rainy season is here, going by the predictions of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. As farmers are getting set to commence the cropping season, inputs, especially seed, is the most important item they're looking for. How is the federal government supporting the farmers in the area of seed supply? Musa Baba Aliu was out to find an answer.
Rainy season is about to set in as predicted by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, and farmers are to enjoy the season as it was also predicted that the rain will be stable with more advantages for the production of all kinds of crops. Consequently, farmers, mostly those in southwest and north central, have commenced land clearing in preparation for planting. As they set for planting, getting certified and improved seeds remains paramount, even though most of them recycle their seeds.
Most of our farmers don't plant improved seedlings or improved seeds. When you don't plant improved seeds, you are susceptible to pests and diseases. The second thing is that most of our farmers doesn't treat their seed before planting. Most of them don't treat their soil.
To this end, the World Bank Agricultural Support Program for Number 3 additional financing has commenced distribution of seeds to farmers in the country.
The seed that will be distributed today are the seed that were being produced by the farmer in collaboration with the Nigerian Grassroots Council, and these have been passed through all the normal tests, and it has been harvested and it is ready for planting.
The support is expected to further boost farmers' output as they are being trained on best agronomic practices.
Really appreciate the support because I know it will help us a lot in growing more seed.
The seed they are giving us today, we appreciate it and we are very happy they are giving us the right and the good one.
It is estimated that over 500,000 metric tons of seeds are needed for this year's wet season farming activities. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The impact of prevailing high temperatures and slightly humid conditions in Nasarawa State have come with the blessing by Mother Nature of abundant fruit varieties, with mangoes becoming very prominent in supporting income generation. Tessio Mary reports that another unique feature is the preponderance of female fruit sellers on the streets of Lafia, the state capital.
Again, it is another season of availability. The fruit girl sellers appear radiant and beautiful. They admit to look good is a way of attracting customers. They are in the city center in their numbers to make brisk business. The favorable climatic condition of Nasarawa State is good for the flourishing of varieties of fruits. But mangoes are everywhere now.
You can call this a traditional market of the fruit girls because every season they are here.
Many people are taking advantage before it will be all over.
Yes, for fresh mango because doctor tells us to be taking fresh fruit all the time because it will give us good healthy.
Still in Lafia and other parts of the state, there is the bigger picture on the availability of mango and its trade. It is an international commodity. At one of the hubs, cartons of mango varieties are being packaged for the buyers. There are lots of activities here and beneficiaries. The chairman of the market and this middleman from Niger Republic agreed the business is good and cement ties of trade.
We are taken to Niger, Libya, and then we carry to Cameroon and Chad. And Nigeria, we're taken to Kano, Bauchi, Maiduguri, Yobe. Every season.
One worrisome phenomenon is the post-harvest losses arising from lack of storage facilities and local processing outlets to encourage industrialization. However, one thing for sure is that while the season lasts, the brisk business of the fruit girls of Lafia will sustain, as well as patronage by the international community. In Lafia, Tessie Omeri, NTA News.
I'm sure you'll agree that Nigeria is richly blessed. To further build capacities and ensure equal opportunities for participation for women and girls, the second phase of educating Nigerian girls in new enterprises has been launched in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports that this is an opportunity for marginalized girls to fulfill their potential in education.
During the first phase of educating Nigerian girls in new enterprises, Engine 1, between 2013 and 2017, more than 24,000 marginalized girls between the ages of 16 to 19 were supported to improve their learning outcomes and economic status across 4 Nigerian states of Kano, Kaduna, Lagos, and the Federal Capital Territory. Out of the total enrolled girls, 21,162 were retained throughout the life of the program. 21-year-old Patience Zaka, now a young entrepreneur who resides in Peshe, a community under Abuja Municipal Area Council, and the 6th child in a family of 14, is one of the beneficiaries of the program.
I have been able to help my siblings in the aspect of buying school stores for them. Example, sandals. Just like last week, I bought sandals for my younger brother. And also, 2 of my siblings just entered senior secondary school, and I also assisted in paying for their registration.
Being an innovative program that fits into Nigeria's macro and microeconomic plan to meet the Sustainable Development Goals, key players in the educational development of girls say inclusive development is an approach to poverty reduction.
The themes, education, adolescent girls, vocational skills, are global benchmarks for economic growth.
Plant colors of hope in the heart and the head of a girl today by opening doors of opportunity that are life-transforming.
The program, Educating Nigerian Girls in New Enterprises, Engine 2, will run from 2017 to 2020. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
The increasing rate of trafficking in persons and the difficulties in reintegration reminds me of the Libya returnees and the challenges they are facing. Stakeholders are now in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, to put in place a protocol for identification, safe return and rehabilitation of trafficked persons. About time, I'm sure you would say. Director General of NAPTIP, Dame Julie Oka-Dunlo, says the protocol will empower victims and make them functional members of the society. Umar Basi Edet tells us more.
The new dimension of human trafficking, as evident in the Libya case, has continued to be of concern to the federal government, with concerted efforts made at immediately evacuating citizens back home. However, returning to their country of origin is often a difficult process, as victims face psychological, health, legal, documentation, and financial problems, thereby finding it hard to reintegrate with families and communities.
If you do not identify traffickers, you cannot assist them. You cannot bring them back. They cannot have a safe return because they are treated as criminals. So it's very important to identify traffickers so that they can be safely returned with dignity and they can be rehabilitated.
Governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade, represented by the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Joe Abang, said worried by the modern-day slavery, Government has instituted various programs to curb the menace.
Garment factory, which is the first port of call for this government, has led to the employment of about 3,000 young people and women.
Supported reintegration is a right owed to trafficked persons to prevent re-trafficking and grow a community of survivors who will contribute meaningfully to the development of the society. In Calabar, Umo, Basidate, NT News.
The embezzlement of donor funds meant to support routine immunization in Nigeria is one of the reasons why Nigeria is still on the finishing line in polio eradication. This was the submission of stakeholders at the 32nd Expert Review Meeting on Polio and Routine Immunization in Abuja. Marianatu Adam Said reports.
In September 2015, the World Health Organization WHO deleted Nigeria from the list of polio endemic countries. However, a country is regarded as polio-free or non-endemic if no cases have been detected for a year. With just 11 confirmed polio cases so far in 2017, the world is on the verge of eradicating polio. Poliomyelitis or wild polio virus is a vaccine-preventable disease that has paralyzed hundreds of thousands of children each year around the world. But the effort of stakeholders, the wild polio virus is only circulating in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Nigeria. This meeting is to talk about what is needed to end polio in Nigeria and to ensure all children, especially in hard-to-reach areas, are immunized.
Gavi has given us 800 million over the last 10 years. It's about 80 million. I have no idea. 80 million is chicken feed in Nigeria. I mean, let's be frank with ourselves. Of the money that is stolen, not the, of the money that is stolen, 80 million is chicken feed. If we didn't steal it, we'll be giving Gavi money. This is the message we need to begin to pass to our government to know that if we spend our money well, people will be coming to Nigeria not to look at polio cases, but to beg us for money.
The only reason why Nigeria is still categorized as a polio endemic country is because we do not have access in some local government areas of Borno State. Unless and until we have access to these LGAs and other smaller wards, then it is difficult for us to say categorically that polio has been eradicated.
Accessibility to every nook and cranny in the Northeast is the only way to immunize newborn babies and millions of under 5 babies who needed to be immunized against the infectious disease. In Abuja, Marianatu Adam Said, NT News.
Catholics celebrate Chrism Mass preparatory to Easter. Join us again for this and more after the break.
Not all washing powders are the same. Sunlight adds bursts of freshness to cleaning power to give you Sunlight 2-in-1 for sensational cleaning and freshness that lasts and lasts and lasts. Sunlight 2-in-1, sensational cleaning with burst after burst of freshness.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. Nurofen Express works at the source of pain. Fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
Give me the value pack. Helen!
You do great value shopping.
Absolutely. I'm a champion at getting value.
Then you must have bought the Harpic 200 ml.
Why Harpic when I have this?
Even after applying them 10 times, they won't give a sparkling clean toilet.
Impossible.
Challenge. Detergent and bleach can't give a sparkling clean toilet even after 10 times. But Harpic 200 ml gives a sparkling clean toilet at one go.
Wow!
Harpic 200 ml. Real deal.
now only 200 naira.
What makes a Niger mom powerful?
I encourage my kids to learn new things, and if they get hurt, I rely on the power of my Dettol's 1 capful to fight germs.
My family needs protection from germs. I use the power of Dettol's 1 capful to disinfect surfaces and clothes.
I trust the power of Dettol's 1 capful for bathing. The power of Dettol's 1 capful protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Be a powerful Niger mom with Dettol.
Our Anchor Borers program has created an agricultural revolution. In September 2015, we imported 644,000 tons of rice, costing more than $5 million per day. By September 2017, rice imports dropped by 95% to 22,000 tons. Our maize crop has exceeded 10 million tons this year, and through our rice and maize program, we now have 12.2 million farmers. We are now the world's second largest producer of sorghum after the United States, third in millet after India, and we lead the world's production of yam and cassava. We've created numerous plantations solely for the export market, and our plan is to increase the agricultural sector from 25 to 49% of our GDP, thereby reducing poverty and increasing food security.
Welcome back. We have all come to agree that peace is a prerequisite for development. A peaceful environment attracts people like bee to honey. Even though peace, it seems, is hard to come by in certain parts of Nigeria, there are still peaceful areas in this country. Chimdimman Dubisi was at a community in Rivers State where this essential element for development is preached and practiced by the people whose monarch has made peace a norm.
Okori is a closely knitted community in Eleme River State. The people here engage in farming, fishing, and trade.
This hard-working, loving and hospitable community, as visitors describe them, depicts a typical Nigerian community. People from other ethnic groups settle in to earn their livelihood without any hindrance. Audu Issa Jibrin is an Igala from Kogi State who has been in this locality for 35 years.
I live with them very peacefully. My family are here, so Eleme is cool.
For Yusuf Muazu Haruna and Abubakar Muhammad from Kano and Jigawa states, they have no fear while carrying out their businesses in what they describe as a peaceful environment.
Everybody here where they called the indigenous and accepting facing, no the short tribalism.
Many attest that the encouragement from the palace of Okori Eleme for the natives to love, tolerate and respect individuals, their cultures and ethnicity is the secret of the cordial atmosphere here.
We accommodate people. In my organization, my company, we see Edo people, see Yoruba, see Hausa. Even in my house here, everybody that come here come to promote the economy of our community. So we need them here. We need to manage them. We need to protect them so that they will stay here peacefully, so that we continue to improve on our economy.
Like every society, though, disputes do arise. At such times, the traditional ruler here has an alternative dispute resolution mechanism, which is peculiar. This ensures that the concerned parties go home smiling.
When there is a crisis, for example, land dispute, when they come to the palace, the paramount ruler will set up a committee that will go to the bush, look at the place, and make sure justice is also done.
This harmonious coexistence may not be unconnected with the attention Okori Eleme pays to education. The paramount ruler personally commits resources to sponsor indigent students, irrespective of their ethnicity.
I'm a beneficiary of 400,000 to enable me further my studies in the law school.
Women and youths have equally benefited from His Royal Highness Apollo's Choose Empowerment Program to promote entrepreneurship. Leadership style that many say other traditional heads need to emulate for promotion of peace in the nation. Chimdimma Ndubisi, NTA News.
A worthy example, I'm sure you would agree. Another book extolling the virtues of President Muhammadu Buhari has been presented to the public, just as another one, Footprints of Change, the Buhari-Osinbajo success story, was launched in Abuja. Victor Azu was at the launch. Let's hear from him.
Change begins with me.
It is the presentation of a book, all right, but this one is instigated by the character of President Muhammadu Buhari and the strides of his government. The book chronicles the achievements of the Buhari-Osinbajo administration in the areas of anti-corruption, security and the economy. And so when the book reviewer got talking, he points to the challenges inherited by this government and then draws attention to the current state of affairs, which he says is down to the discipline of the president.
President Muhammadu Buhari is above suspicion as far as his character and his interests are concerned. We can therefore celebrate our good fortune as a nation in having a leader of his caliber and integrity.
Other speakers at the event, including the chairman and the author, say the strides of the government in less than 3 years cannot be overlooked.
The president does his work silently, so based on that they've been, vilifying the good works of the administration, and we felt we cannot stand by and watch that happen. We decided to put together some of these landmark achievements of administration so that we can really, tell Nigerians the truth.
It will go a long way in educating Nigerians on the achievement of this government.
The book is sponsored by the Buhari Victory Mobilizers and Change Advocates of Nigeria, who used the occasion to initiate mobilization of 5 million Nigerians to drive President Buhari's election come 2019. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Nigerians have been urged to support President Muhammadu Buhari's development agenda towards repositioning Nigeria. The coordinator, Buhari Friends Organization Network, Dr. Athanasius Okon, made the appeal while inaugurating the state executive of the group in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Miriam Vincent Oko has the details.
Inaugurating the state executive of the Buhari Friends Organization Network, the national coordinator, Dr. Athanasius Okon, recalled that the group was set up in 2013 based on the leadership qualities of President Buhari. He charged members to continue to mobilize support for the president to ensure his re-election in 2019.
The Buhari Friends Organization Network has done a lot to complement government's efforts in regard to sensitization of policies and programs, as well as provide information on government activities through direct contacts with the electorate.
Chairman on the occasion, Minister of Youth and Sports, Solomon Dalong, represented by his Chief of Staff, Maiwada Damalam, noted President Buhari's achievements since assumption of office and charged members of the group to be good ambassadors of the president.
We have to believe in moving the country forward, and we have to believe in the leaders who move forward to do this for us.
If you have the vision of Nigeria, you know what you want Nigeria to be. Then you will understand what Buhari has done.
I would encourage each Nigerian to embrace Buhari and the upcoming 2019 general election.
The event brought together members of the group from the 31 local government areas of Akwa Ibom State and party stakeholders from different parts of the country. In Uyo, Marian Vincent Oko, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress APC celebrates its national leader, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, as he marks his 66th birthday. The party attests to Tinubu's progressive and patriotic contribution towards efforts at deepening democracy and ensuring good governance in the country. As a frontline politician, he has built lasting political bridges and alliances across divides in the country. A release by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Bolaji Abdullahi, wishes him many more fulfilled and healthy years of service to the party and the nation. The party assured him of support as he carries out the presidential task of reconciling members of the APC. I'm sure you know that I'm here because NTA is celebrating 40 years of television broadcasting in Nigeria Therefore, still beaming the spotlight on NTA at 40, it is fitting to focus our attention on the leadership that have steered the affairs of the national broadcaster from inception. In this feature by Cecil Egbele, we will get to meet the Directors General who led the NTA in the first half of her existence as a national network.
From inception, the Nigerian Television Authority has had 11 Directors General, with the pioneer DG, Engineer Vincent Maduka, having 2 tenures. Presently, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed is piloting the affairs. Let's take a quick trip back to the early days and get to meet the early Directors General of the NTA from inception till 1999. First among all is tested, trusted and dependable Engineer Vincent Maduka. Scholarly Walter Fonagoro took over the baton in 1983, handing back to Engineer Vincent in 1984. Now clergyman, Engineer Shingu Wigwe ran the affairs of the NTA for 4 years before handing over to Malam Muhammad Ibrahim, a now district head at Ringim Emirate Council. Late Dr. Patrick Itoye took over in 1996 and piloted the affairs of the largest television network till 1999. Indeed, it all started with about 10 television channels merging to form the TV network, and unanimously, Vincent Maduka was appointed Implementation Executive who piloted a smooth transition.
Among ourselves to recommend an Implementation Executive, we agreed among ourselves instantly that yes, Vincent Maduka was the man to take over the apparatus of starting the nucleus of Nigerian Television Authority.
I had a clash later with General Basanjo, who was head of state. He said to me, I didn't know you before I made you DGNTA. So what he was saying was that it wasn't on his own volition that I became DG. Obviously, somebody had recommended me strongly, and that must have been Ogunlade.
As Director General handed over to another, varied was their priorities.
I was more concerned about seeing how we could be looking inward.
The various stations had commercial targets. If you exceeded your target, you kept half the money and sent half to headquarters. Of course, next year your target will go up. If you can make more money, it will go up next year.
With a population approaching 200 million, has the NTA succeeded in its mission and goals as established by the early founders?
It has succeeded to a large extent. Nigeria is a very difficult country. Nigerians are very difficult people. I think it has a lot of glory to look back and say, yes, I have succeeded in what Nigerians are looking for.
When you go through major crisis like the country was going through then, and you're able to keep the establishment, you kept the workers on, you have all cause to celebrate.
As a national television network charged with promoting national unity, cohesion and culture, celebrating NTA at 40 is expected to be a national celebration. In Abuja, Cecil Egbele, NTA News.
I'm sure you know I'll be remiss if I did not join Cecil in wishing the Nigerian Television Authority many more years of useful service to the fatherland. We all know the adage, honor to whom honor is due. Now with Martin Luther King Jr. not around, who next to honor for what he did than the spouse and siblings? That's exactly what the National Council of Arts and Culture did as the family visits Nigeria. Inaya Kaluoka tells us about this.
The talking drum, said to understand all languages, welcome members of Dr. Martin Luther King's family back to their roots. In an exciting mood, the matriarch of the family, Dr. Naomi Luther King, called on Nigerians to continue to live together in unity and love.
They should stay together and that you do whatever it takes to protect the land of Nigeria and be in God's graces.
Yes, indeed, the message of hope, love, and unity vibrated, but there was another message to Nigerians.
Please, Nigeria,
think very, very, very carefully before you vote this man out of office. He is a mighty, strong symbol to the rest of the world that Nigeria is open for honest, corruption-free business.
So we must stop the stealing and then exploitation of Africa.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Abike Dabiri Erewa, and the Director General National Council for Arts and Culture, Otumba Olusegun Roshewe, said the visit has projected a country as peaceful with determined people to succeed.
We need to work together as Africans to develop the African continent.
And they've been able to attest that Nigerian has a lot of positive impression than some of the negative things that has been said about us.
The visit is part of activities marking the Black History Month in Nigeria. Ohinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
Catholics the world over celebrate Chrism Mass, which is the blessing of oil used during sacraments in the church. In Abuja, Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese, John Cardinal Onoyekon, conducted the Chrism Mass at Our Lady Queen of Nigeria Pro Cathedral, Abuja. John Yakayu has details.
Globally, Chrism Mass is celebrated during the Holy Week of the Lenten season for the blessing of oil that will be used for sacraments during Easter and the entire year. These are the oil for anointing of candidates for baptism, for the sick, and oil used in the sacrament of baptism, confirmation, and holy order. Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, who conducted the Mass, called for respect for constituted authority.
We should be full of prayer for Nigeria. There are too many agents of evil, violence, and disruption around. And they are peddling their messages and their stories all over the place, especially in the social media. We cannot just sit down and wait for the worst to happen.
He called on the leadership of the country to do everything possible to prevent anarchy in the country. Highlight of the Mass was the renewal of priestly vow of obedience.
With the blessing of the oil, it is just for all Christians to continue to pray for the bishops and priests who administer the sacraments so that they'll be humble and generous in their duty. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
It is the tradition of the Federal Road Safety Corps to embark on sensitization during festive periods. With Easter celebration around the corner, the Road Safety Corps has taken its ongoing nationwide sensitization to Gwagwalada area of the Federal Capital Territory, where commercial drivers were again reminded of basic safety tips. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
Characteristically, there is an upsurge in vehicular movement when any festivity is approaching. Situation on the road then becomes chaotic if mechanism needed is not deployed. The Federal Road Safety Corps, the statutory agency responsible for traffic management, was at the Road Transport Employer Association of Nigeria's Park, Gwagwalada, a suburb of the FCT, to re-echo to road users, especially commercial drivers, on the need to practically obey traffic rules during Easter. Representing the Corps Marshal, Boboye Oyeyemi, Corps Public Education Officer Bisi Kazim highlighted the measures the Corps has put in place, which include high visibility of FRSA officials on roads, enforcement of speed limiting device, and prompt response to emergencies.
This patrol is in 3 phases. We're going to start one in the morning, 6 to 2, the other one 2 to 8, but mind you, the one in the night is for rescue purposes.
Chairman El-Rufai Park, Gwagwalada, Samuel Olariwaju, said the awareness is a reminder to the basic road requirements, while Christian Oguche, a commercial driver, believes the periodic sensitization has not only changed the orientation of the drivers, but that of the passengers.
What they have come to do today is a welcome development, and it will go a long way to help drivers, most especially those who are on highway
and those who are running within the town.
I said my driving will be very smooth based on what they taught us today. They said we should be very, very careful on the road, the way we drive cars, and we should not be overspeeding.
Beyond these safety tips, the FRSC is also putting up 200 mobile courts during this period to try traffic offenders. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
So far, so good, I hope. Just one more segment to go, so don't abandon me now. Let's get out together after these commercial breaks.
Registration is now open for state and sports clubs to participate with free accommodation and feeding for athletes and officials on the basis of first come, first served at the first National Grassroots Sports Festival, Sports for All, to discover sport talent, develop future world champions, and rejuvenate sports in Nigeria. Date 19 to 29th of April 2018. Venue, National Stadium Abuja, packages A and B. This is an opportunity for state governors to mobilize supporters and fans for their state through broadcast sponsorship and for companies to promote their brand. For broadcast sponsorship, contact Angelo Peter I. Elosia, Chairman and Chief Coordinator, or Nick Onyisi. Organizers, Grassroots International Sports Academy and LOP Worldwide Television. Endorsed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Broadcast partner, NTA, the largest television network in Africa.
Welcome back. Let's now take stories on the foreign scene with Ilyasu Ali Yakubu.
It's glad to have you join us on this segment of the news. The UN Security Council has unanimously backed a resolution that takes the peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo by helping to prepare elections and avoid deadly violence. France presented the measure that renews the mandate for MONUSCO, the UN's biggest peacekeeping mission until March 2019, and emphasizes the need to protect civilians as the Democratic Republic of Congo heads forward historic election in December. The resolution underscores the need to do everything possible to ensure that the elections on 23rd December 2018 are organized with the requisite conditions of transparency, credibility, and security. Mozambique's 3 main political parties have agreed to go ahead with constitutional reforms that will decentralize power as part of effort to consolidate peace between the government and the former rebels. The government said they have made significant strides after it signed an accord with rebel force turned political party Renewable and another opposition party, the Democratic Movement of Mozambique. The reforms being negotiated will see the governors of Mozambique's provinces elected directly, not named by the president, as is currently the case. After days of speculation, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has finally paid a visit to Beijing, China. The visit to China and South Korea was Mr. Kim's first non-foreign trip since taking office in 2011. He held successful talks with President Xi Jinping. China is North Korea's main economically, and it was true that it will consult Beijing before planned summit with South Korea and US. Mr. Kim is due to meet South Korean President Moon Jae-in in late April and US President Donald Trump in May. That's it on the segment. My name is Ilyasu Ali Yakubu. The news continues in a moment.
Nigeria Volleyball Federation to open camp in Kaduna in preparation for international competitions, with Nick Girigos failing to reach the semis of the Miami Open. Amanzi Marcos has more on Sports Update.